Guys, good afternoon. In this session, I'm going to discuss about the left terms of different figure of speech. Now, in my previous video, I have already discussed uh, the terms like simile, metaphor, and antithesis, and then oxymoron, epigram, climax, bathos, and personification, and apostrophe, and hyperlage or transfer epithet. you if you have not watched that video, then just go to my channel and please watch this video, and then you can understand the present content. So okay, without any further delay, let's start the lesson. Here in this video I am going to discuss about interrogation, or it is also known as eroticist. Now, when a rhetorical question is framed where the answer is also suggested, it is known as interrogation or eroticist. As I have given a particular example, the line is taken from Shelley's poem Ode to the West Wind. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? Here it is a rhetorical question, as we all know that by asking this question, the poet says that if winter comes, spring can never be far behind. So, in the question, the answer is also provided. This type of sentence is known as interrogation, or in this sentence, interrogation is used as a figure of speech by the poet. Now, next move on to the next figure of speech, that is alliteration. Now, what is alliteration? When one letter or a group of letters or sounds occur in successive pattern within a sentence or a para of a poem, then it is also known as alliteration. I have given a particular example, that the furrow followed free. Here, in this example, the letter F occurs successively in the words furrow, followed, and free in the same sentence. So it is a case of alliteration. Now remember one point. Now this alliteration is also divided into two categories. When there is the repetition of consonant sounds or consonant letters, then it is known as alliteration. But when the vowel sounds or the vowel letters occurs or repeats itself in a sentence or a para, then it is also known as assonance, not as alliteration. Remember this point. Now the next term is onomatopoeia. So what is onomatopoeia? Now when sound echoes the sense, it is also known as onomatopoeia. I have given one example. The example is the lake is lapping at the shore. Now here the word lapping is nothing but conveying the meaning of the conveying the sound of the water, or echoes the sound of water, and that's how it becomes an example of onomatopoeia. So whenever there will be any word in any sentence that conveys any particular sound, then it becomes onomatopoeia. Like the hissing sound of the snake, right? So if we use the word hissing in any other sentence apart from the sound of the snake, then it becomes or then it fails to convey any meaning. But if we use this word in the context of the sound of the snake, then it becomes meaningful, as it's as the word hissing echoes the sound of the snake. Now the next term is pun. Now when there is duplicity of sense under the unity of sound, it is also known as pun. I have given one example, that is, I find other sweets stranger in my way. This sentence occurs in Sidney's poem. Here in this sentence, the word feet has been used in double sense. Firstly, feet may also refer to a person's legs, as usually we means by this word. But it can also convey the meaning of the poetical device of a line that is used by the previous poets. So it becomes a case of pun. So let me tell you in a simplified manner. Now, what is pun? Whenever a word is used in a double sense, or whenever a word in a sentence can convey different meaning at the same time, then it is known as pun, or it becomes becomes the example of pun. So that's all for today. I hope you have understood well. And if you have any queries, please let me know in the comment section.